Developing news now. We've learned that Vance Bolter, if you don't remember that name, he's actually the man charged with shooting two Minnesota state lawmakers, and we're being told he could face the death penalty here. Democratic State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband both died, while State Senator John Hoffman and his wife were seriously hurt and are currently recovering. Investigators say Bolter visited the homes of multiple other elected officials the night of the shootings. Authorities say he identifies as a conservative evangelical Christian who was very opposed to abortion. And at this point, the FBI hasn't released what they're calling an official motive, but the governor of Minnesota says these shootings were politically motivated. Bolter faces 6 federal charges which are eligible for the death penalty. And by the way, police say Bolter wasn't only targeting Minnesota lawmakers. He actually allegedly had a hit list that included 7 Michigan lawmakers, including West Michigan Congresswoman Hillary Scholten. Our sister station in Detroit reporting Senator Alyssa Slotkin and Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson were also on that list. And while police have not identified a motive just yet, Scholten is worried about a rising trend in political violence. 13 on your side's Josh Alberta sat down with Scholten yesterday. Go ahead and take a listen to that.
So, before we begin, I really do just want to give a big thanks to law enforcement here in Michigan, Michigan State Police and the Grand Rapids Police Department, who have been all over this and just incredibly responsive and keeping me and my family safe as these revelations came to light. I got a call from Michigan State Police last night informing me that I had been identified on the list that was the secondary list that was found among the shooter's possessions, and that they were here to help and help support. And GRPD had sent protective services over, I think, within about 5 minutes of getting that call. And that's really all I know and was told. Again, just very, very grateful for the responsiveness of our law enforcement in taking action there.
Gotcha. I thought our desk mentioned that it had been relayed that other state lawmakers here in Michigan were potentially on that list. Are you able to share anything about that on that front?
I'm not going to share the names of other individuals, but I do know and was told that mine was among a list of other Michigan individuals who were on the list. Again, we appear to continue to be learning additional details about the nature and parameters of this attack and what was planned and the extent of it. And that was, obviously a big revelation that this was not only contained to Minnesota, but indeed there were other targets across the country, including here in Michigan.
And you talked a little bit about the protective service already, but how has this impacted you and the immediate work and security of your office already?
Well, we take the security of our constituents, of my staff, incredibly seriously. We were supposed to have a town hall, a huge several hundred person town hall in Muskegon tonight, and out of just an abundance of caution and the fact that new details appear to still be coming to light about the nature of these threats, we wanted to just make sure that everyone could enjoy a safe experience where they felt just completely unhindered to come and engage with their representatives. So to my constituents in Muskegon who may be watching, we're going to reschedule this just as soon as possible. And I'm so sorry we had to postpone the event tonight, but I take your safety very, very seriously.
For sure. And as you mentioned, of course, details on this are coming to light, but what authorities were suspecting, it seems up until this point, was that this was politically motivated. It just seems like that's happening more and more. It just seems like it. What do you think this all says about the moment that we're in and how we can reverse that, if we even can?
Yeah, I believe that we can. I told my team 2 things this morning. One, we are going to continue to make sure that everyone is safe and protected and doing this incredibly important work. but also we're not going to be deterred. We will not be intimidated by, terrorists that see us out here doing good work for our community and this country and want to try and intimidate us. Now, again, that doesn't mean that we're going to be foolish or put, ourselves unnecessarily at risk. Again, we took the steps we felt we needed to for this evening, but I've been out in the district all day. Will continue to do so, continue showing up for folks and making myself available. We are seeing an unprecedented rise in political violence in this country. This shooting took place on the anniversary of the shooting of Steve Scalise, a Republican, as he was preparing for the congressional baseball game. It knows no political side. There is political violence on both sides, and we certainly have seen it in the extreme here in Michigan, of course, against our governor, and now here against a group of Democratic lawmakers across the country. I think when you see a bully, a true domestic terrorist, you have to say we're not going to give in. We're not going to capitulate. We're going to continue, bringing light and goodness into this moment, and that's what I intend to do.
Gotcha. And kind of wrapping up here, is there I'm sure there's so much, but is there anything in particular that you feel is important to mention about this, whether or not it's what we discussed earlier about how you personally are doing, or whether it's it's speaking to people who are removed from this, but like are just in the general public who are like, I am fearful of this moment that we're in just because of what we are seeing. What else do you feel like is important to mention in this moment as we see this kind of play out and what it seems to unfortunately be building on?
Yeah. I'm part of a group of lawmakers that was elected after the January 6 riots on the Capitol. And we knew the risks associated with this job, and we still raised our hand to serve because our democracy depends on public servants who are committed to doing this work with civility, who are committed to the strong principles of not normalizing political violence as a legitimate form of political speech. It's unacceptable, it's un-American. And I, along with so many other lawmakers I know on both sides of the aisle, are committed to tamping this down. And all lawmakers should be willing to stand up right now and condemn this violence openly and publicly. We all need to feel safe in doing our jobs because we are the voice of the American people. And there's so many people who are afraid right now about the direction of our country, and they're counting on their representatives to be able to do their jobs unhindered. And that is exactly what I intend to do.
Gotcha. And a quick follow-up to that, have you heard from your local Congress people as to a round condemnation of what this appears to be? Because some people were watching to see if that would actually happen. Is that something you have heard from your colleagues around the spectrum?
We're hoping that will materialize, and I know several individuals have stood up and condemned the violence individually and personally. Speaker Johnson has the gavel at this moment and an incredible opportunity to lead and speak out against this violence. Several of the members in the chamber that he controls have been put at risk, and he has a lot of power right now to be able to protect us. And we're hoping that he won't let this moment pass without taking action.